Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with Kev for your Super Saturday match preview Aston Villa against Wolves. First of all, though, just wanted to, I know we've got a new logo. So massive thanks to Mark for doing that logo, but also big thanks to Nick Salter, one of our members and one of our big fans of the channel, who creates the music for us, and every month, every couple of months, sets up the edits for us, and they kindly put the new logo and everything involved in it. So, massive thank you to you, mate, for doing that, because I think it's gone down really well. This new logo, Kevin, it's really good.
It feels like it has actually. Yeah, it was a bit of controversy in the group, wasn't there, about did we all like the images of ourselves? But I said to Mark, I'm not too precious. That'll do. Obviously, we're not going to look as handsome as you look on it, mate. But we can't win them all, can we?
Laura was like, "That does not look like you."
Mhm.
my,
Yeah,
my wife, by the way, yeah.
you look like the
So
bloke from the Fast and Furious, don't you?
yeah, she's like, I wish I married him. But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it's good.
yeah. But no. I wanted to shout out Nick. Um, so yeah, we're gonna get into the full match preview. Obviously, football is back after the international break and all the drama of Ivan Toney or Ollie Watkins. Hopefully, Ollie Watkins bags a few goals on Saturday. Let's get into the chat though. Deontay, happy Friday evening, Thursday. Oh, happy Friday Eve. I'll get you. And love the new logo. Thank you very much, mate. Good evening to you, Lewis. Good evening to you, Rachel. And good evening to you, PJJ. And as my message says there, welcome to the show, everyone. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. And if you want to become an official Villa Park Pod follower by becoming a member, click that link and that'll take you to it. It's just $1.99 a month to help support the channel. Before we get into the full match preview, though, Kevin, obviously sad news today about one Gordon Cowans, true Aston Villa legend. It's been revealed. I think people knew he was kind of suffering with dementia, but he's actually now in a hospice. And it's a real sad state of affairs. Real sad shame to see, anybody going through this terrible disease. But for a true Aston Villa great like Gordon Cowans, it is particularly sad.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. It's terribly sad. It's obviously a horrible affliction. My mum's got dementia, so I know, sort of very, very close to home for me. And she's had it since late 50s, as did my aunt. So, so I know that it's obviously a horrible disease and how it changes people. We talked about, obviously, on our 3,500 subscriber Q&A, there was a question, wasn't there, about Villa player you could have in the team now, and I think Karen's name was mentioned, and I certainly had a few words to say about him just from my memories of him as a player. Now, I don't think either of us would have seen him in his absolute pomp in the early 80s, but it's got to say, when we did see him in the late 80s, he was still almost as good as he was back then, apparently, because he got back in the England squad, didn't he? And such an unbelievable link up, particularly with David Platt in those obviously seasons under Graham Taylor, where we almost won the league. But his accolades for the club, I mean, he's won from a perspective of trophies. There's not many that also won the League Cup as well as went on to win the European Cup and obviously in the league. So just really the FA Cup that was missing. Tons of appearances. It was absolutely criminal. Then he got 10 England caps. I think it was about 10 England caps. Just an unbelievable player, majestic, fantastic on the ball. Good tackler. Suffered a really bad injury in the mid 80s, which after he got his move abroad to Bari, but still came back from that strong. Had 3 spells at the Villa in the
Hmm.
end, and obviously coached at the club for probably the best part of 16, 17 years until I think he left sort of 5-6 years ago. I've seen him down the club a few times. Dan, sometimes when I've been down in the lounge a couple of times, I've seen him, and you could just tell that he wasn't the guy that he was. It's just in terms of how he was just a step behind, and it was just really sad to see him how he was, and to see from a guy that was such a wonderful footballer how it's impossible to say, but obviously the balls back in the day, the physicality of the game, it can't have helped, can it? Obviously there was evident with Jeff Hassel years ago, and all those footballers from many years ago. So yeah, mate, it's terribly sad. I wish all the best, obviously, to his family. he's one of my Villa heroes. Even though, as I said, I caught him in his second phase of the club, and I'm sure many people will probably echo those thoughts.
Yeah, I'll get into the comments in a second, but yeah, I mean, we interviewed me and Rich, like we talked about this on the 3,500 sub special, but like I think it was like the 3 year anniversary of when we kind of interviewed Tony Daly, and he talked about his top three games, and one of them being the 1990 victory, the 2-0 victory against Inter Milan, and watching that, like Tony Daly was phenomenal, but Gordon Cowans was just brilliant. Like, and because you see so much football now, and you kind of see like players how they are now, you kind of think, well, they couldn't have been a player of that type before, 30, 40, 50 years ago. But when you watch player like Gordon Cowans and you see how two-footed he was, how good he was at controlling the ball, how technically gifted he was, how he could move past players without ease, and you think like, you look at like how Grealish was for us in those like magic years, 3 or 4 seasons ago, and like you just see like players that kind of just become like prototypes. You've got a Cowans from 40 years ago, his control and his technique and his ability. I mean, if someone's put there like De Bruyne, like that, like just the vision, everything, like it was just. I know they play at a different pace of the game now, but the game's still the same. Like you still have those type of players that had that technical ability, that brilliance, and Gordon Cowans like epitomized that. The way, like I say, the way he went past players, the way he could use both feet, the way he could control it, the way he could play a first time pass was just unreal.
Yeah, and
And
also, like, yeah, you look back at, like, some of the old football, and people say this day and age, oh, they wouldn't compete in this era. A lot of them. You look at some of those pitches. You look at the type of tackles they were allowed to get away with back in the day. I mean, some of those games, and obviously the season Villa won the league in '81. It was like we had, like, was it 13, 14 derbies in inverted commas, teams in the Midlands. From, obviously, you got Stoke and Leicester and all that. Like, and obviously you've got your Blues, your Baggies, you got loads and loads of teams that are local to us that they won the league with.
they had one sub as well, didn't they? Look like.
One sub, and it was frenetic. Some of the old games I've seen back were absolutely crazy. But the De Bruyne comparison, I think, from what I've seen of Cowans is massive. The amount of times he would find Cam. I mean, that Inter Milan game you talk about is one of my really good earlier memories as a Villa fan, as a kid, like 9 years old, so my lad's age now. And the pass he did over it's like just sort of dink chip, first time pass over the top to Platt to run through. I mean, that link up play for however long they played together was just absolutely majestic. I mean, it was literally like Haaland De Bruyne in terms of the telepathy. Just unbelievable. And his passing repertoire was fantastic. His engine was brilliant. Yeah, just an absolute tremendous player, and what a legend for the club. Won everything bar the FA Cup, because obviously we don't compete in the FA Cup anymore. Um, and um, and yeah, someone mentioned this the other day. We won the European Super Cup as well. We beat Barcelona. So fantastic
Yeah,
man.
and he got shoved into the net. I think I remember in that
Mm,
game. Yeah, but
yeah,
no, wonderful player, and our heart goes out to him and his family. Michelle says awful news. PJJ said my favourite as a kid. Gaz says Sid. Rachel says love and strength to Sid and his family, and to your family and your mum Kev.
thanks, Rach.
Gaz also said that left foot, yeah, amazing. Colin says I watched Gordon Cowans many times. He was a magnificent player who could hit all the right passes. A true Villa great. Ugent says sad news in a very young age. Jam Jack said, my dad and Gordon Cameron shared greyhounds when I was a kid. My old man lost his battle with dementia last year. Sad news on Cameron's legend. Top man Jam Jack, and
Yeah,
sorry for your
all the
loss
best.
as well. Yeah, PJ as good as De Bruyne in his day. Michael says Cameron's is the best midfielder we've ever had. No, he hasn't. He hasn't. He's just in a hospice with dementia, so no, he hasn't. Gaz said the best set pieces delivery you've ever seen. Um, he made David Platt. He was never as prolific away from Carrans. He's absolutely. Willie said, evening, guys. Sad news about Gordon Carrans. Hope he gets the care and support he deserves. Yeah, Gordon Carrans, what a player. It's difficult to put into words how good he was, but he was something very special. Yeah, PJJ. I was at the Barca game. Sid got kicked all over the place and didn't flinch. He was imperious throughout. Let his football do the talking. Yeah, he did, and that was the thing. He just, like you said, Kev, very humble, quiet, just got about his
Yeah,
business. So, and I'm sure he'll be kind of fighting right till whenever, and as I say, he hopefully gets the care and support that he deserves. So yeah, just wanted to do a shout out because a lot of the time, we do these shows and you get so involved in it, you kind of sometimes I forget to to pay like the respect or
yeah,
whatever to a certain
yeah.
situation. So I wanted to do it right at the start. So
It,
yeah,
it's also sad as well. I think we did it. We did it. We probably didn't give Chris Nicola much as a shout as we should have given
no,
Chris Nicola actually
yeah,
previously. And again, absolute another legend of the club. We talked about him I think at the time a couple of times he won the League Cup, and to think that recently that's obviously Chris Nichols passed, and this news about obviously about Sid Cowans as well is yeah, it's been difficult, hasn't it? Fans of the club. Obviously, we've had everything with obviously Daniel Atkinson in recent years as well. So, J. Lloyd Samuel, Peter Whittingham. You get some taken.
Hugo,
Hugo, of course, he gets some taken. Obviously, at such a young age, but still mid 60s is no age, is it really? And
nah,
for a man that was still kind of working in the game, and look, I've seen him in the last few months down the Villa, and still like talking on the mic a couple of times, but I just hope like whatever the level of dementia he has, that he still maintains some of those wonderful memories, to the end. I really hope he does.
yeah, yeah. Well, obviously, we talk around these Villa legends, and these type of things will happen. Unfortunately, life catches up with you, but we know what legends they are, and they get the respect they deserve. And moving on to these players, these current Villa crop, this last part of the season. These guys can become Aston Villa legends, much like the Gordon Cowans and the Peter Withs and the Tony Morleys and the Dennis Mortimers. So you know we're getting into that stage where these players need to start kind of like using the older players as this inspiration, and none more so than they need no more excuse than this game on Saturday against Wolves, because this is a massive game.
It really is, and of course, Sid had a spell at Wolves, didn't he, as well, later
Hmm.
in his career? So he played for Wolves as well. So I'm sure both clubs will be sort of fond memories of him. But yeah, it's a huge opportunity. Obviously, they've got quite a few injuries now as well, and yeah, I've got a good feeling about it. I really have. I think that look, we finished really well last season, didn't we? Under Unai, we really did finish the season well, and I feel like look, we don't know what's going to happen, but we've had a sticky-ish patch, and we've largely come through it. Other than obviously the Spurs result, which was pretty shocking, we've largely come through the last few games after having bad turn of the year pretty well. Um, I think some of our international players a bit more than I would have liked, played a bit more than I would have liked. Collins have got probably a few more minutes. I'm delighted for him, but could have done with having a bit of a rest. Obviously, Cashy got injured. McGinn, I think, played most of both games. Watkins obviously played the first game and then came on the second one. So, yeah, I would have liked to have had a bit of a rest, but business end now. A few European games as well, but it's just a massive game. Our record, I'm sure you'll bring up the stats shortly. Our record is absolutely appalling at home against Wolves. For those that were there at that when we were 2-0 up and we lost 3-2, God, that was a bleak moment, wasn't it? So, but if
It was
anyone's gonna
horrible.
gonna slay the demons, then yeah, it's gonna be Mr. Unai, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. We'll get into the stats in a bit, and we'll kind of go through it because it is definitely one to break, that record to break. But yeah, both teams kind of bit depleted. There's been Wolves. We'll talk Wolves first, then we'll go on to our kind of players. But yeah, I think Cunha is like 50-50. Neto is definitely out. Wang Hee-chan is definitely out. Craig Dawson, I think, is 50-50. It's a big one for us. Um, so, and I think they've got a couple of other players that are out, but they've still got good players. Like they've still got Lamina in midfield, who I really like. Gomez in midfield, who's playing fantastically well, and the tactics that they employ from Gary O'Neill, that kind of soak up the pressure, get blocks in, and then just be devastating on the break. It's served them quite well this season. That kind of formula.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I'm not really a massive fan of Gary O'Neill, the way Why we do not have a
Not the
game.
way he carries on, but like he's
No.
done a good job though.
Oh, I've got huge respect for what job he's done. I've got huge respect. I mean, I think it's our world now, isn't it? That people can't actually have simultaneously have two differing opinions on the same person. It's either got to be
Yeah, yeah, that's
I
true.
hate
Yeah,
him
that's
or I
true.
love him. I
Yeah,
hate everything about the EU. I love everything about the EU. I hate everything about Brexit. You know, you get my point. COVID, crazy world, right? I can say simultaneously, I dislike a lot of way Gary Neal comes across, but he's done an unbelievable job. I think he's up there for manager of the year. I think he has to be. I mean, he got let go, didn't he? By by Bournemouth, didn't he, for Scotty Parker? That was right. I'm right. That might be that what happened now, aren't I? It was Bournemouth and Scott Parker. Shouldn't they get rid of O'Neill?
yes,
I'm right in
yes, they
thinking that.
did.
Yeah,
Yes, they
look where
did.
that
Yeah,
went.
he did a
And then
good job as well.
yeah, and then yeah, that's the point. He was doing a decent job. Look what happened after he left. And then obviously that when Lopetegui left, it was why have they given it to Gary O'Neill? And obviously then
And it
they
was like
lost.
a week before the season started or something as well.
He left because of lack of funds. They then had to sell Nunes, who was their like top player last season, midfielder. I thought they might go down, Wolves. They've been at times this season brilliant, fantastic, through the team. So I think it's not going to be an easy game. He has to have massive credit, Gary O'Neill. He's done something at that club, and he's certainly got a way of galvanising that team. And when they're on the attack, but it's midfield as well. You mentioned Gomez. Lamine is a really good player.
He
Really
is,
good player.
man.
Ain't
He-
Nori, Kilman, Dawson's been
Kilman,
good.
very good defender.
Keeper's been really good. Um, you obviously mentioned Cunha. Whether he's him, Neto, Huang, they've all been decent, haven't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And we tend to like with regards to the previous games. I know we were at the Molineux, and it was a bit of a scrappy game, wasn't it? Scrappy encounter. We kind of grew into the game as it went on. Maybe could have snatched it at the end, but certainly at home in home fixtures, we've tended to play into Wolves' hands quite a bit. Like, we know they've got a strong back four, generally play a back four, back five. We know they've got big centre halves, but we've tended to just try and put balls into the box, and particularly when we had like Watkins and Ings at that time, it's never seemed to work. Like we've seemed to, I don't know, just like kind of got the tactics slightly wrong against Wolves and played into their hands almost.
Yeah, well, that game I talked about with the 3-2 defeat, it was like how to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Perfect example.
I was there with Aiden, man. That was crazy. I could
Sh-
not believe it.
Shocking. That I was there with my lad.
That was a downfall of Dean Smith, unfortunately.
It was the first time we'd seen a situation where we were like just super comfortable, 2-0 up, coasting it. McGinn and Ings, I think it was, and all of a sudden it's 3-2 deflections and free kicks and all sorts going on. But even obviously the last game when old Leon, new Leon would score that, but old Leon misses an absolute sitter in the last minute, it feels like. But we were
No, that was Watkins. That header.
what no, but what Bailey missed, didn't he?
Oh right, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. You're on about Watkins at the post. Yeah, I'm on about last
Yes.
season at home. Yeah,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I forgot about that one as well.
yeah. When
Yeah,
he's clean
yeah,
through, and it's like,
yeah,
yeah, we're gonna
yeah,
beat we're gonna beat the
yeah,
Dingles.
yeah,
Yeah, well, I think look, Unai generally has got it right most of the time, and I have to fancy that he's going to have a plan for them. And look, you know what's going to happen, but I like to think, can we capitalise? Look, we've got injuries as well, but I think we've probably got a better squad than they have. And I've seen the pictures of training. JJ looks like he's back in training, so I couldn't tell you what the team's going to be. Well, I know you might ask me, and I've
yeah.
got to give.
Put a pin in that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, obviously, yeah. You took the words out of my mouth. It was great to see the pictures of Jacob Ramsey, back, and we did kind of say that, didn't we? That he probably wouldn't be risked against West Ham. Give him the 2 weeks to get fit and have a break and get training. But it was nice to see him back in training. But I've still looked at the kind of injuries again. We've obviously got McGinn suspended. We've got Matty Cash with an injury. Ramsey's still saying he's doubtful. Boubacar Kamara, obviously we know. Buendia out for the season, we know. So we've still got like you know we've still got the odd worry here. Like because of the positions that these players are out in, right back with Matty Cash just starting to get into some form, playing really well. Konsa we know is more comfortable in that right centre back position. You've got the midfield already with weaknesses. You've got McGinn out now. Like you say, it's hard to kind of see what he's going to do. Tielemans played well with Louise, but it does concern me a little bit with the strength of Wolves midfield.
It does as well. I agree. But listen, don't worry about right back. We've got England's right back. We can play there now. Um,
Yeah,
so England starting right back in the last game. So I mean, we joke about it, but he started at right back for England. He's got to be a pretty decent option for us at right back, hasn't he? Against the team below us. If Carlos is back, which I think he is, and you can have Carlos and obviously Torres, or you've got Longland Torres, but Carlos. I mean, it depends if they play that absolute unit they've got up top. That I don't, what's his name? Salajic, something like that. So um, yeah, but either way, I think whether you've got two of Carlos Torres and Longley, and then Dino and Moreno. So I don't mind too much defensively if Cons is there. Be interested if he wants to change it to see whether Kessler Hayden does get any minutes. The midfield is the one. Is he going to go for Tim alongside Louise? Is he going to go for obviously Tielemans and maybe play Ramsey in there? Zaniolo played a couple of times for Italy. Got a goal, looked pretty bright. Is he? Does he get a start? I don't know. He's never really produced the goods, but does he get a start?
Rogers.
Rogers is on fire for the under 21s. Diaby's been obviously in better form lately. So, we've got a few options there. The key worry is just the solidity in midfield, isn't it, with McGinn and Kamara out.
Yeah, well, I'll put my starting lineup shortly. A few comments coming in. Oh, I forgot as well, guys. Please do. We've got over 60 people watching, which is fantastic. Please smash the like button if you haven't already. I haven't checked how many likes we're on at the minute, but it'd be great to get over 50 already. We're usually getting well over 100 at the moment. So yeah, if we can get over 50 tonight, that'd be great. Subscribe if you're new. We are very close to 3,600 subscribers already. It doesn't feel like, well, what was it, Sunday we were doing our 3,500 show, so to get 3,600 already would be tremendous. So please do subscribe, and as I said, if you want any super chats or anyone wants to join as a member, please click the $ or the link at the top and follow the instructions from there. Few comments though. What have we got? John says, loving Villa and Wolves flying the flag for West Midlands football. Ugent said, Emery should put together a fixture list of the 9 remaining league games with all teams on 0 points. Tell the players to pretend that the season begins now. That sounds like a Kevin inspiration. That I like
Love
that.
that, Ugent. Love it.
Gaz says they've got some really good players, yet they're still boring. Gary H said, then that 3-2 at home still gives me nightmares. Yeah. Few people mentioning Bailey crying when he missed that chance. Bear in the Garden says, need to take control of the game from the first minute and keep control throughout. Gary said, need all of our Midland sides to do well to get the respect back for the area, not Blues though. Yeah, Adamski pointing out Ramsey's basically been out all season.
Yeah, he has.
Kool-Aid man, yes, well spotted. You spotted the deliberate mistake from Mark. He thought it was Villa versus West Ham. Yes, Mark, our thumbnail man, had the West Ham badge. I didn't even spot it. Posted it, and yeah, it was pointed out to me a couple of times. So we got it sorted. Kool-Aid also said we have to go all guns blazing, which what Villa are good at now. We have the fear factor. John, don't worry about being late, but yes, get those likes in. I totally agree. Will it be Zaniolo or Zanigolo? Says Gary. Well, hopefully. Rod believes in Musa. Absolutely love it. Yeah, I think Musa played minutes, didn't he? He came on for like 10, 15 minutes in the last game, so he should be good on good form. But yeah, I'll put my starting lineup up now, Kev. You let me know your thoughts, and guys in the chat, let me know what you think. So I've gone with Martinez in goal, obviously, Ezri Konza, Diego Carlos, Pau Torres, and I've gone with Luca Dean at left back. Yuri Tielemans and Douglas Luiz, and then fairly attacking. And this is where I found it difficult because this is the lightweight part, but I thought maybe speed, maybe movement, the likes of Kilman at the back for them. And is it Totti? Not the most mobile, but very strong. I was thinking maybe Bailey, Diaby, Rogers, and then Watkins up top. What are your thoughts, Kev?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad side, and this is the thing with the attacking options. I mean, I could easily go everything you've got up until the front four. I would totally agree with exactly that. Those sort of 7 players. Watkins is obviously nailed on. Bailey's nailed on. So it really is. Is it going to be Diaby and Rogers? Is it going to be, is it maybe going to be Zaniolo? Is it, are we going to try something different? Put Irabonum in there maybe and play Tielemans a bit further forward. Yeah, Rogers has been in good form, and I think he seems to like him. He's been starting him, so yeah. Does he maybe get another shot at it? And obviously Ramsey, if Ramsey's fit, then I think it'd be good to see Ramsey in there. I think Ramsey would be ahead of Rogers if he was fit. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's a decent team still. I mean, the thing is, even though we've had these injuries, we've coped with these injuries, haven't we? We've coped with them pretty
We
well.
have, we have, and we know we've got a manager who sets the team up for in a specific way with the specific players that he's got.
Mm.
We know we probably play slightly different if Zaniolo comes in as opposed to Rogers, or Diaby will play in a slightly different way off of Ollie Watkins and linking up with Leon Bailey as if he had Ramsey and Zaniolo in there. So he will adapt it to what he sees fit. But whatever happens in that with that kind of team, we've got attacking options still. We've got players who can drive with the ball. We've got players who can beat players. We've got obviously a goal scorer in fine form. So I think someone else in the comments said before, let them worry about us rather than we worry about them.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's not forget, they're on the back of a pretty pretty disappointing defeat against Coventry, aren't they, in the FA Cup?
Yeah.
Obviously, where I mean, I listened to the last 20 minutes of that game on the radio driving back from somewhere. My God, it was an unbelievable entertainment on the radio because obviously they were one up Cov with that and about 10 minutes to go, and then Wolves obviously got 2 goals back, 83rd and I think it was 88th, 89th minute. Then obviously the 97th and the 100th minute, I think obviously then Cov got the equaliser and the winner, and that home draw against a team, in the Championship, in the quarterfinals FA Cup, to take yourself to what would have been a Wembley tie against Man United, they would have had a chance to get to the final. So they're going to be ruining that opportunity, Wolves, because you don't get many chances like that, do you, against a lower
No.
league team?
No.
And we've had plenty of those over the years. Bradford City in the League Cup being one. So, but yeah. So I think we also can we take advantage of that? That will have certainly not their confidence because they had a decent team out.
They did. They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. We should be able to, I think, capitalize on that a little bit. You're thinking it might still be kind of fresh in their mind. A missed opportunity, like you said, to get to Wembley and all that jazz. Gary said we're on the telly again, so let's put on a show. Gaz says Ramsey has to start. John says not one pundit has spoken about Konsa for England. Maybe they're waiting for Esri to release Vinicius Junior from his pocket. Yeah, he was brilliant, wasn't he?
It was.
All them injuries, and that's still a good side. It is absolutely. Jamjack says JJ for Rodgers if he's fit. I think that I would agree with that. I just don't know how fit he is to kind of be back in the starting lineup. We'll obviously find out a little bit more tomorrow in terms of that when the press conference is. People mention about Mings and Wendy. I know Wendy has been out on the grass, but I still think it would be asking a lot to get him back in the side today. Sorry, for before the end of the season. Ugent said Tim might come in alongside Dougie and Tielemans in place of Rogers. Possibly. It just seems like he hasn't used him yet with Bonham. I know he's talked him up a few times, but what do you think about that Bonham and maybe pushing him further forward?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that. I think we've got other options, haven't we? Other options for that. I was also thinking as well with Wolves, it's a big opportunity. They've got a game in on West Ham, and if they win, then I think they can go level on points. And Brighton are in between West Ham and Wolves. Have got Liverpool away. So and
Mm.
actually, the Wolves have got a
Well,
better goal
I'll
difference.
bring the table up now because I was going to mention that.
Yeah, Wolves.
It's a big game for both sides. Like they're in a decent spot, Wolves. So
Well, they've got better
yeah,
goal difference than West Ham. So if they won and
yeah,
West Ham, obviously, well, that's the game in hand effectively. So they'd go seventh, and then only be 3 points off Man United in sixth. So they've still got a realistic shout for Europa League.
yeah.
So I think that's obviously, pretty exciting. West Ham have got Newcastle away, so it's not an easy game for them.
No, I mean you've got what 9 points separating Fulham in 12th and Man United in sixth,
Yeah,
which when you talk about we were 11th for so long last season.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it, really?
All it takes is for one of those teams to go on a really good run, and we saw what Fulham did to Tottenham. So it's not like they're well out of it, and we've seen Wolves get good results against teams. So yeah, this just shows how big a game it is, and if we can get the result here, you're going into Man City with a bit more confidence, and then knowing that you've got Brentford on the Saturday, you're thinking, right, 6 points from these 3 games is a pretty decent return. If you can get anything more than that, if you can get 7 points, that would be just unreal.
Well, absolutely. And also, like, the season's not over. Let's look the other way up the league. I know City have got a game in hand of us, but they've got Arsenal the next game, then they've got us afterwards. I mean, why can't we think to ourselves, if we won them both, we'd be right on their tails again?
Well, absolutely. You just never know. Like, it wouldn't get. I know Gaza said like, don't worry about the pundits, but it definitely wouldn't. It definitely wouldn't get mentioned if City beat Arsenal and then we beat Wolves. We'd be like what 5 points or something behind them. Like, it wouldn't get mentioned. It would absolutely not get mentioned.
No, there'd be an obscure podcast somewhere talk about it, or I tell you what, a better thing would be for us to get a mention if we sold the entire squad for FFP reasons, right? Just everybody, and bought Ivan Toney. Everyone would love us, and we
Yeah,
play him, and he would
just
do
let him
not
take
much.
penalties.
Take
Yeah,
penalties and be like, oh, what an unbelievable player he is. He's the best thing I've ever seen. I thought the other night, the way Rob Green was talking about him, it was like Maradona and Pele had come back to life and been reincarnated with like Francesco Totti's skills and R9. It was like the best forward performance ever. How many touches did he have? Like, what did he
16.
do? Well, there you go. What an unbelievable performance.
The best thing is that Ollie Watkins is 16 goals this season, 10 assists without taking penalties.
Yeah,
Right, without
yeah.
taking penalties. Now, look, I am one to hold my hands up. I've criticised Ollie Watkins. I know I have. Right, that's fine. But this really irks me. I didn't realise that it was better to score penalties,
No, it's better.
like than
Mm.
than than like and have that in your record, as opposed to being like second or third top scorer in the league or whatever it is, and top assister in the league without taking penalties. I thought that would get you more credit. I didn't realise that it was better.
Well, that is better because if you've got a manager in charge of your national team that can't beat any teams in the top 10 in the world, like it's got about, I don't know, a 15, 20% win ratio, if that, against top teams in the world, then you probably are going to have to play for penalties. And therefore, I think Letitia is getting back in the squad as well, because obviously, he can bring him on the 120th minute. So, I mean, it's just, look, Tony's a really good player.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not.
Fantastic.
I'm not. I know Gaz said that like tongue in cheek. Look, it's not Tony's fault. I don't care about like
No,
he's a great player.
he
He's
should be in
he's
the
got
squad.
that arrogance
Should be in the
about him.
squad.
Yeah, he's got that. He's got a finishing ability. He has got different abilities to Ollie Watkins.
Yeah,
The problem is the fact that they just dismissed Ollie after the Brazil game for being for missing a what would be classed as a quarter of a chance, and then not getting any service.
that
They
wasn't even a
just
chance.
dismissed it, and plus he's playing against Brazil of all teams. But then Ivan Toney has a comparable performance to Ollie Watkins, although he scores a penalty, and all of a sudden he's like the second coming. That's what I don't get.
Yeah, after
That's
everything
what
Watkins
annoys
has
me.
done. Yeah, and I actually thought Watkins was pretty tidy in the performance against Brazil. And I know I'm looking at it from my perspective,
Yeah,
obviously as you are, and also like he's massively understated his part in the goal in the equaliser. Did fantastic to keep the ball in. Didn't keep the ball alive. It looked like it was out. So yeah. But anyway, we
we
digress. We digress.
digress. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
I just wanted to
Well, I
kind of
think
get
they
that point.
both go because I think Gareth Southgate, along with the other UEFA managers, like the international managers, will get 26-man squads
Yeah.
instead of 23-man squads. So yeah, that's what I think. But yes, we digress. So the reason why we were kind of we're talking, of it being such a huge game, albeit yes, we know league positions, Midlands derby, and all that, is because the record that we've had of recent times against Wolves in the Premier League is just not good. I mean, 17 times we've played in the Premier League. Win total wins is fairly even. 5 for Villa, 6 for Wolves. 4 of our wins that have been away from home. Only one win at home in the Premier League. And then these last 5 games, Kev, I mean, it
Oh,
doesn't make for
please.
pleasant reading, mate.
Oh God. It's like watching some Netflix documentary about a murder. This is
So
awful.
yes, we've talked about it. The 1-1 draw earlier this season. Pau Torres with the goal. 1-0 defeat towards the end the last season when we were on that great run, but we did lose at
Yeah,
Molineux.
bad game that.
1-1 draw when we talked about Leon Bailey missing that opportunity. A 2-1 defeat in April 2022. I can't really remember that game, to be
No,
honest.
no.
But the 3-2 defeat, that was just absolutely gutting, as we've talked about. Recent form, Villa slightly the better form. 10 points from the last 5 games, which is the 2 points per game average that we like to see. Wolves with 9 points from the last 5 games, won 3 and lost 2. And like we said, Villa currently in 4th position, Wolves in 9th. Both teams have drawn the same amount of games. Wolves have lost 11 this season. Villa have lost 7. Villa outscoring for averaging just over 2 goals per game and slightly better goals conceded as well. One more clean sheet. We create more chances than Wolves. And obviously, with regards to Ollie Watkins, we can see there, but also the 2 top goal scorers for Wolves don't look like they'll be playing. Maybe Cunha could start, but I'd probably imagine him being on the bench. So he's got 9 goals. Hwang Hee-chan is out. Pedro Neto, in terms of assists, he's out. But yeah, the tackle wise, we know that they're a very hard working side. So yeah, it is going to be a feisty affair, I'm sure. 5:30 kickoff as well, Kev. So it
Yeah.
is going to be a hell of a game.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it really is. And I think that this can be just an unbelievable opportunity for us to basically, again, put a stamp out there and say, you know what, without McGinn, obviously without all the other injuries that we've got, we can go into a game where people think we haven't got, a great record, but obviously that's true. And, a lot of our players in action in the last 2 weeks and, under the lights, Villa Park, all that. But, to take a victory there, to go on to Man City, who, okay, fine, some of their injuries, we might find out aren't as bad as possibly people think they are. But, I still think they're probably going to have a few players out when they play us. And, we'll be having the same conversations about our record at the Etihad. We've got a terrible record at the Etihad, haven't we? Terrible. Well,
Yeah,
why not? Why not, eh?
exactly, mate. Exactly. And I have to admit, I'm the similar vein to you. I'm really positive um, about the game on Saturday. So let's get score predictions in the chat, guys. I'll come to you in a second, Kev. Roll call for likes again, people. We've had I think we've got over 70 watching now, which is great. So yeah, make sure if you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Get your score predictions in for Saturday's game. Are you going to the game, Kevin?
I'll be there, Richard. Are you?
I am. I will be there. Yes, there will be 3 generations of Sutherlands at the game. Me, my father,
Are you the
and
granddad?
I'm the granddad. No, not yet. Not yet. Although
Two.
this grey hair
Yeah.
probably would
Yeah.
would kid people. But no, Aiden will be there. I will be there. My dad will be there. So
Awesome. Awesome.
very much looking forward to it. I was talking to Aiden before about his last home game was the 1-0 victory against Man City. And prior to that was Brighton 6-1. He
Right.
obviously saw us beat Middlesbrough 1-0 as well. So he's on a five game winning run at the moment of Villa matches. So we want to make that a Super Six. So that would be
We do.
fantastic. So some predictions in. Gaz Oak says 1-1. Weston says 3-1 Villa. Deontay says 2-2. Marine Boy says 2-0 Villa. Michael says 2-1 Villa. Adamski says 4-0 Villa. What a game that would be. Lewis says 5-2. That would be fantastic. Judith in the chat says 1-1. PJJ says 2 or 3-1 to us. And Rachel says 2-1 Villa. So Kev, what are you saying at the moment for Saturday's game?
I've got a feeling that we're finally going to get a clean sheet. I'm going to go 2-0 Villa. 2-0. Won't be an easy game, but I fancy us. Maybe if they are lacking a few attacking options, and that might stifle them a little bit away from home. And I think Ollie Watkins is going to march on towards 20 Premier League goals. He's going to get one, and Dougie will get a penalty.
Penalty. I like it. Do you not think? Do you not think after Ivan Toney or Ollie Watkins will put himself on penalties now?
No, he won't, because if he misses, if he misses it, then Unai will be upset with him.
Yeah, there's no
Okay,
chance
we're
of him
picking.
getting in the squad then.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, he's not going to risk it.
No. Rod says a routine 3-0 Villa win, but thinks we'll lose at Man City though.
No chance, Rod. No chance. We're going to smash him.
Gary says Lions 2, Wolves 2. So a few people predicting a draw. I'm going to say I think I agree with you with regards to the clean sheet.
11-0. Is it 9-0?
But do I think it'll be as? See, I'm thinking 3-0.
Well, why not?
Yeah, why not? Why not? 3-0 Villa. 3-0 Villa.
Yeah.
Let's go with Leon, Watkins, and Musa.
Musa.
I think that those three. I think if we can get them three firing, I think there'll be an absolute headache for the Wolves. The Wolves
Rich,
back four.
all bets are off, mate. Sorry, I've just realised John's just put this. It's in John's comment.
What's this one?
Yeah. I understand the Wolves haven't scored from outside the box this season, so you know what's going to happen. Yeah, that's fine. Wolves are going to win. A free kick and a 30-yarder. There you go.
But is he
Yeah.
saying 4-1 Villa? But
I think he probably is.
outside
They're
the
going to score
box.
from outside. Okay, fair
That'd
enough.
be good. I'll take that. I'll take
I'll
that.
take that.
Ugent says 4-1 Villa. Watkins, Tielemans, Rogers, and Bailey.
Come on, Ugent. I'll have a bit of that. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Geordie Villain says, be awesome to beat City after thrashing Wolves 6-0, but 3-0 Villa. Paul Tierney is in charge. Yes, 2 early goals, 1 very late, and then we go on City on a high. I like it.
Yeah.
Jason says Villa 2-1. Gary says Richard's predictions are better than Kev's. So he's obviously been keeping tabs. Yeah. I like that.
Have you got a tally? Yeah, but I'm just ridiculously optimistic. So
yeah, I know.
if you did my predictions, I think we would have won every game, and we'd have like 165 plus goal difference. So yeah, don't worry about the predictions. It's all bullshit comes out of my mouth. We're gonna beat everybody.
We'd have like the record Premier League points total by now.
Yeah, on our players still wouldn't get in the England squad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Jamjack saying 1-0 concert goal. Bear in the Garden says, Paul says Desmond, as in Desmond Tutu.
Yeah.
The comments are coming in so fast. Aggregate score over the next 3 games this week. Oh, so I've said 3-0. I think it'll be 2. I'm going to go early on predictions, but it might change. But let's say 3-0 Saturday, 2-0 to City on Wednesday, and then I say a 3-1 against Brentford. So that's what 5-3 to Villa aggregate score.
I'm going to say 2-0 against Wolves, as we just said. I'm going to say 1-1 City. Okay, I'm not going to go for a win there, and I'm going to say 1-0 against Brentford. Brentford home, a narrow win. So yeah,
4-1.
what's that? 4-1.
4-1 aggregate.
Take it, 7
I like
points.
it. I like it. We also need to mention, a few people in the chat had mentioned Douglas Luiz on two yellow cards away from a 2-match ban.
Does it reset at some point?
It resets after the Brentford game, I think. I think it's basically 3 games.
Oh, right.
So these 3 games.
So we need to try and get 3 or 4-0 up against Man City within the first half an hour.
Yeah, no yellow card on Saturday. 3 or 4-0 up against Man City. Bring him off, and
Perfect.
then he can do what he wants against Brentford.
Yeah, I mean, a little shout out to him as well. How wonderful was it to see him on the same pitch as Konza and Watkins? I was absolutely buzzing for Tielemans. I mean, I'm English and proud, but I'd rather, I'd take Villa winning against Wolves and England winning the next tournament they're playing. That's how much I love my club team more than my national team. That's probably something to do with Southgate and England over the years. But Tielemans, I thought, was fantastic as well.
He was brilliant.
great to
Best
see him in that
player on the
ball.
pitch for that 70 minutes that he was on.
Yeah, that ball, fantastic ball. Then he lung busting run to get on the end of that cross. Lukaku like doing Douglas Luiz outside the foot passes. So yeah.
You're the Villa admin.
Oh yeah, I am the
Did,
Villa
did,
admin.
you,
Yeah,
did you see
all the
it?
grief. Talk Sports, tweet about it. Yeah,
He's
yeah. I
going to
love.
get sacked.
Of course, he's not going to get sacked. I love it. I absolutely love it. I always wanted England to win, but I was delighted to see Tielemans score. Yeah, good.
Yeah. And just to end on a real positive, Lewis said we haven't lost at home on a Saturday this season. Let's just keep it there. Let's keep it there
Yeah,
because
don't lose.
that isn't going to change. We know that's not going to change, Lewis. And I think that was AVFC Stato putting that one out. So we know he's a friend of the channel. We can't call him out. We can't call him out. But yes, Kev, any messaging, any positive message to finish up the show with? We know now football is very, very close to being back. Real football isn't close to being back.
Nah, nothing to say, mate. Nothing to say. Nah, nothing at all. We're going to lose to Wolves, so yeah, might as well not bother going. No. Listen, of course, I've got something to say. We've not. I think Wolves is the only team who knows not beat, isn't it? I think is that the stat? Is that stat as well?
Yeah, and Stevenage, if
And Stevenage.
we
Yeah.
want to be pedantic.
No, it's not pedantic. It's facts. And I bet Unai, the way Unai is as a manager, I think he'd almost get us relegated 3 seasons in a row just so we could get the chance to kind of like rectify that issue. But no, big opportunity for Unai to beat a team he's never beaten. But it really is the business end of the season now. Was it 9 games left in the league, and hopefully we've got 5 games left in Europe. So, and then obviously onto the summer, some of these players will be going onto international tournaments. I just really hope this team take this opportunity now. You know, every game is a big game now. Every single game is a big game. And obviously, you know, Man City, Brentford, you expecting to win. We've got some big games. Teams around us have got some big games. It's not that far away from Spurs having 3 of the hardest games in the league, you know, back to back. So I just hope now, the end of this season, that some of the players that maybe been on the fringe a little bit in terms of being the better performers, the Diabys, the Zaniolos, Ramsey getting back into the team, Diego Carlos being a stalwart and now not getting injured. You know these kind of players around us. Moreno maybe getting back to a bit of form. I just want to see these players now that have been possibly on the periphery a little bit start to really show their worth. Zaniolo obviously got a really important equaliser set up by Musa, obviously in the last game against West Ham, and I just think it's time now for people to show it. Morgan Rogers showing what he can do. Eric Bonham getting a couple of games and keeping a couple of solid performances there. Maybe Kessler Hayden getting a few minutes. It's time for people to shine now. You mentioned it earlier about Gordon Cowans, and obviously the sad news about that. But you made such a good point, Rich. This is a chance for these players. Are you going to get to the end of the season and you're going to go, we had a good run. We finished 6th in the end, but not bad Europa League. Or you're going to say, you know what? We had loads of doubters and Sodom. We finished 4th. We finished 3rd, whatever. You get my point. Like, we're not going to rely on that 5th spot and see what happens in the rest of the European games for the coefficient. We're going to cement 4th spot. We didn't even need 5th. And I just think that, I really believe in this squad of players, and I really believe in Unai Emery. So I think we're going to do it.
What a way to finish it. Guys, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We are going to win on Saturday. I'll see you all at the game. Come and say hello to me or Kev at the game if you are going. We'll be back later this week with the match reaction, instant match reaction for myself, full match reaction with all the lads, talking tactics with Gareth. Thank you all for watching. And as always, remember, we all follow the Villa.